Going back 2.5 years, I reviewed this headphone. It was in a different case, had a different name, and a slightly different dressing. This is the Meze Audio Elite Tungsten. I wanted to give these headphones a second chance, a re-review, after going through everything in the industry from the HE1 all the way down. How do I feel about these? Is it still the same experience as I did it the first time? Enamored by its design and kind of underwhelmed by its sound quality? What's changed? There's so much to discuss. I'm Koji CO. Welcome to Convince Me Audio. First and foremost, a very special thank you to Meze Audio, to Antonio Meze and the team for sending this unit in for review. Absolute pleasure seeing you guys again at Munich High End. And my goodness, you should have seen the room Meze had set up for their headphones. I recommend checking out the review here from the Munich High End documentary. It was absolutely outstanding. This is the flagship from Meze Audio, with a new paint job that I can't wait to see, the Meze Audio Elite Tungsten. And they've changed the case, starting with the outer design. This is a much smaller case with a leather handle. I think I like this for ergonomics more than the other one, but I think I prefer the other one for looks a little bit, but it was metal and it did kind of have a tendency to scratch very easily. This one is a lot more durable, slim profile and small. And it still sounds like you're opening up the case with $1 million in it. Okay, this off the bat oozes super flagship. There are very few headphones, honestly, on the market, despite of price, that can even dare to stand alongside the Tungsten or the Elite in general. Shall we take these out? Starting with their wedged Alcantara pads, these are new. So we're going to place those over Mia. As you can see, these are magnetically attachable to the drivers, to the baffle itself. I like this a lot. It's so simplistic for pad rolling. Thank you. These are the headphones themselves. We're gonna place those here. I believe these have the new thin pads as well. Everything's new. Some documentation from Meze Audio, signed by Antonio Meze, I believe. Very nice card as well. Where are the cables, you say? Well, I'm going to have to leave the studio to find them because they did not come in this case. They were separate in a separate box. Starting with the accessories, like I mentioned, these Alcantara wedged pads have been supplied with the headphones. The previous ones were completely symmetrical, completely different sound characteristics to the stock ones here, which I will get onto in a minute. These are the premium cables from the Meze Elite, and fortunately, these come with the headphones now. Previously, you had to buy them separately, but thank you for actually doing that. It's very much appreciated and it makes the headphones even more premium than they are. I love these stock cables from Meze Audio. I think they're the best in the industry in regards to feel, shape, ergonomics, and honestly, sound characteristics for a stock cable. These are the best on the market right now. So that one is about 125 centimeters. They're still using obviously the mini XLR termination for the headphone connection. And this one is a 3.5 single-ended cable for your DAP. Headphones are easy to drive. That's where the problems begin, I think, and that's where I misunderstood last time. Easy to drive doesn't mean easy to drive well. This is their 180 centimeter cable, I believe. 4-pin XLR balanced and same material core. Silver-plated copper on this one and mini XLR. Again, beautiful ergonomics. Doesn't keep its shape. Absolutely stunning. That's the one I've been using on a regular basis. Moving on to the headphones. These are the Meze Elite we reviewed here. Mini XLR termination. The sort of pear-shaped design for the actual pads. Let's take one of them off. Magnetic. Very thin. This is the leather and some fabric inside. I think that might be leather too. On the outside, on the surface area, and on the underside is this fabric material with this mesh protecting the driver. You simply place the pad on the headphone drivers, on the baffle itself, and it just sticks in. This is due to the fact that the magnetic structure of the isodynamic hybrid array from Renaro Isodynamics is so strong, it actually holds the pads in place. And I believe sends the magnetic field back onto the driver itself for efficiency. That was a specification I looked at last time. By the way, full specifications running down the screen now. The other side of the headphones, the grill, look at the machining of this thing. This is an absolute work of art. This thing has to be in a museum somewhere for audiophiles to go and worship, I think. The most gorgeous headphone design, I think, on the market, in my opinion, subjectively. We have these beautiful adjustable rods that basically slides the size of the headphones up and down like this. Very, very smoothly, no creaks, nothing, just perfect machining. Incredible. This side is a little bit stiffer than the other side. Let's try it like this. Yeah, very, very smooth, and it definitely does not move when you change it. Then we have this patented design flare headband with this leather, really wide leather strap up top for ultimate comfort. This headphone is amongst the most comfortable headphones right now on the market and hasn't changed over the last 2.5 years. The ergonomics, distribution, and design of these headphones, what can I say? Perfection. 5 tigers out of 5, untouchable. Beautiful new paint job, fantastic new accessories, an updated cable, updated pads. Are we going to get the same sound characteristics as before? Or will the knowledge, the equipment we have, and everything else we've been through allow us to work out the perfect synergy for these headphones and see if we can push them beyond what we heard last time? Let's move over to the sound desk. Meze Audio Elite. Honestly, I expected the warm hug of the characteristics of the headphones. I never believed I would have my mind changed so drastically from my previous listen. Though this comes from understanding and testing a lot more equipment, that synergy has a tendency to play a far bigger role than gets mentioned in reviews. Not only that, but I think the easy to drive stuff, the sensitive stuff, have more of a tendency to go haywire and not play nice with a variety of equipment than most people realize. I gave the Elite an exceptionally good review for the hardware, but I was harsh on the Elite for its sound characteristics, though very good, but when it was in a category of Sesvaras and Utopias, I felt as though it was going to lag behind. And on the previous equipment I tested it on, my assessment was accurate and I stuck by my words. But having heard the Elite on the Philips Audio Envy, on my own current chain, LTA Z10E and Aperio DAC, and the recently bought in Siegfried from Spirit Torino, I was brought up short by the performance of these headphones. Comfortable, yes. Beautiful, of course. World class in its design, artistic, yes. But sound characteristics? These headphones require a lot to open up its dynamic range, and when you are driving them to their fullest capability, especially tubes, these headphones have a tendency to go from a 6.5 to a 7 out of 10 to a 9.3 out of 10. In this category of super flagships, it becomes more transparent. Dynamic range is more prominent. Stage is as exceptionally wide and deep and tall as ever. Everything sounds huge. But the visceral impact from bass, I was genuinely surprised. It has the same amount of punch as an Atrium, a Utopia, or a 1266, but in its own innate characteristics. Sub-bass does not roll off at 20 Hz, 30 Hz, and is consistent and sustainable. Most importantly, the Meze audio imaging is bar none. It's exceptional, definitely in line with the Utopia and some of the other hard-hitting headphones. So I switched back to something simple for the Meze, a lower category, solid state, and I found that dynamic range suffered a bit. You got a bit more of that plasticky timbre, and I realized that there was something at work here. These headphones require tremendous technicality. Power, not because they're hard to get loud, but overhead. Distortion limitation, I was taken aback. This has been the thin, stock leather pads. So let's discuss how it sounds. It's a slightly neutral, warm sound signature, leaning towards the ever so slight darker with this pad. Definitely a thicker, denser sound signature than some of the airy, light headphones. Punch is outstanding, but I think the things that stand out is the mid-range, vocals, separation, and layering. For those of you who have heard Unique Melody, I always felt as though this is the closest headphone to those IEMs in regards to the layering and imaging that a Unique Melody provides. Every nuance of sound, it's not laser etched in front of your eyes, but part of the whole, and nothing is lost. It's conducive to a very large variety of genres. You don't need to worry about any genre limitations. It has the slam for EDM. It has the stage for classical. It has the beautiful lushness for metal. It has the subtle smoothness for badly mastered tracks. It's a daily driver. On tubes and equipment that can measure up to it, like the Siegfried, without a doubt, this is a super flagship headphone. Not only in its looks, but in sound characteristics too. It resolves extremely well and not artificially, the way Utopia tends to come across on solid state. And every element of sound is so present, it has a space within the stage it's sitting on and does not impede other elements of sound within the stage around it. I was genuinely taken aback. This is a super flagship headphone. I'm so glad it came back in for review. I've been listening to Billie Eilish solidly over the last few weeks. Just a binge listen. I've been going back to Monster Cat, the entire discography. But most importantly, I've rediscovered metal. Due to the harshness and badly mastered tracks of metal, most of the time we tend to set this aside on very high-end equipment because honestly it sounds really bad, like a Sesvara or something. But on this, it just provides the soul of the music. I am so happy to be reviewing this again with comparable equipment. Yes, I can take the Elite on a dongle if I want to, on the go. It works, sounds very safe. And that's what a lot of reviews have been saying as well. The Elite is safe, but you need to unshackle the Elite on comparable equipment to showcase what this headphone's like with a glass of cognac. It's exceptional. So with that, let's move on to the velour wedged pads. Billie Eilish, Bad Guy, on the wedged velour pads using the LTA Z10E and a Aperio DAC versus the thinner pads Meze, these leather ones. Yeah, it smells like real leather from Italy and everything. You've got more of a reference sound. If we can use the curve, a neutral sound, a more analytical characteristic, which I'm really surprised. Velour doesn't usually tend to bring this across, but on this, it seems to be a little brighter, a little bit more forward in the upper mid-range. Mid-bass definitely takes a dip by a couple of dB, and then in the sub-bass category, we definitely have roll-off. This does not extend the way these ones do. I think this is the most impressive pad, genuinely, for the Elites, but those velours are a bit more detailed and a bit more sharper focus, giving that more of a analytical listen. Stage definitely comes in a little bit more, and the vocals are a bit more intimate, a little bit cooler sounding, and the transience is a little bit more pronounced on that specific pad on tubes on this setup here. I personally prefer a more intimate to a good stage rather than overly large. For that, if I really want an overly large listen for those characteristics for a genre like live music, I mean, Elite on the thin pads does extremely well. I just go to Shanksinia, for example. But bear that in mind, the Elite stages exceptionally wide. In the previous review, I finally said HD800S has a rival because I believe without a doubt that the HD800S and Elite have the same sort of scope for soundstage. It's very, very good. Moving over to the Siegfried. We have stated in this review that it's actually tubes that truly brings Elite to life. What happens when you put it on a flagship amplifier like Siegfried? Siegfried tends to be running like a dual mono design solid state amplifier for speakers and for headphones. It definitely brings the characteristics of a power amp to the table. The performance is a little bit more cooler sounding. Definitely less warm, but the visceral impact from sub bass and mid bass and the opening nature of the stage is remarkable. I think that's more of an analytical listen. When we listen to tubes, we tend to get a bit more of a holographic nature to everything, but Siegfried tends to bring these characteristics along with better transients and better speed and technicality. It's remarkable on that, and as the first amplifier where I've truly heard Elite not just sound dynamically poor or lack of resolvability, it performs just as well as the LTA Z10E, but on solid state form. And I've had a whole new appreciation for these headphones, a whole new experience for these headphones. I'm genuinely surprised. Like, I didn't believe that these headphones could step out of the comfort zone that they provide on like just regular equipment and dongles and things to such a category. They scale up tremendously. So in conclusion, do I think that Elite, now I've heard it on comparable equipment with good synergy? I mean, the previous equipment was like the Oar, the Hypso, so very high-end stuff. Spring 3, I believe. I can't quite remember if it was the Topping A90 at the time, so we have moved leagues and leagues to a different category. And the fact that the isodynamic hybrid array can resolve the equipment behind the drivers showcases the technicality of these headphones. Yes, I think they're worth it. Yes, I think they can walk alongside all the other super flagships, and yet they're better. I would pick it over a Sesvara for a lot of cases for this reason alone. You can drive Elite with anything. Well, different characteristics, but you can get Sesvaras loud on anything. So what's the difference? The difference is Elite sounds good on comparable poor equipment. Sesvara doesn't, but Elite gets better. Utopia had these characteristics too. Yes, the Meze Elite Tungsten has changed my mind. 5 tigers out of 5. All genre, beautiful, comfortable, tremendous scalability. It gets 5 tigers from me. And if you're interested in what we thought previously on the low-end equipment, check out the review of the Meze Elite here from 2.5 years ago. And if you like reviews such as this, consider joining Patreon, where you get early access to early reviews, a private Telegram chat, and to us talking about all of this equipment. And if that's beyond your means, all of the support goes towards running the channel, editing the videos, getting live cameras here for the sessions. Please consider subscribing and getting us out from under the feet of the algorithm of Google. I really do appreciate it. And you'll be saving a puppy. Until next time, peace.